So I actually love this topic because I am very interested in artist management.
Yeah, it's your shit, really.
Yeah, it is right up my alley. And I actually did my internship at an artist management company and I loved it. And I think it's so interesting because an artist manager has so many functions. They are like the negotiator, the project manager, the semi-marketer, the finance manager. They're like all of these things in one because they have to like oversee the artist's career, and apart from overseeing, they also give advice on what they think the artist should do in order to advance their career.
Yeah.
And along with that, they're like the networker as well, like for the artist,
the
because
networker,
name it, because
things.
no, they are a lot of things, and it makes sense why they take the percentage that they take. Because at first I was like, wow, like that's a lot, like to be taking that amount, when it comes to like percentages. But it makes sense because they do so much. Do you know like what's the standard rate? Because I think the standard rate like of percentages is like between, from last I can remember, it was like between 10 to 25.
Yeah.
10 to 25%.
I don't know if it's changed since then. I know that a lot of managers also work with commissions.
Right.
Which I feel like it's a little more complicated.
Yeah, I feel like
in my opinion, I don't know what fucking works best.
No, I feel like it's complicated as well. But yeah, last I could remember, it was between 10 to 25%. And I did some research earlier on, and I saw persons were saying like between 15 to 30%, which I mean, it can be done. When you're a new artist manager, when you're just starting out, I think you can take about 10%. I think that's fair. Because still you're learning as you go. So I think taking 10% would be fair, or even 5%, but I don't know who would want to take 5%.
Yeah, no, that's not livable. First of all, Charlie,
so
relax.
No, I'm just saying, because I mean, people would be like, I don't know so much, I'll just take the little 5. But then when they do the work, they're like, okay, no, 5 wasn't worth it. You know what I mean? So I would say 10% definitely. And if you're like in between, so if you had some success with your roster of artists, I would say to take between 15 to 25. And if you're like a well-established artist manager, you see, you bring massive results for your artist, I mean, by all means, take your 30, 35%, you know what I mean? Because you're bringing in the monies, you're bringing in the coins, But I think it's so interesting how artist managers are like, or not are, but there needs to be like every piece for the artist. Like I said, finance, like managing the budget, helping with marketing, giving advice on the artist's image, they
have to put on multiple different hats.
Yeah. And I think it is definitely hectic. And I was going to say, as much as the artist manager may love doing their job, I think, I don't know how else to put it, because I know sometimes it's stressful for an artist as well.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's stressful for artist manager as well, having to manage, everything, because like somebody's livelihood. Well, okay, yeah, somebody's livelihood is basically in the hands of them, in their hands, That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's much. That's why I was like, I deeped it when the pandemic started. Because remember, I've been saying for like years that I want to be an artist manager.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic started, and I was like, wait, hold on. I literally reevaluated that whole idea, because I was just like, hold on, I'm just now deeping like how much an artist manager does and how much they're actually responsible for. You're responsible for this person. And like literally everything that they do in their day and every decision that they make in their career.
Basically,
and like, you have to be there to support them. We had a lecturer even tell us that like being an artist manager, you also have to be like a personal psychologist, because everything that artist goes through, you're going to know about it, and they're going to ask you for advice and like all of this other stuff. And I was like, do I even have the bandwidth for this kind of a commitment?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, wait, this is actually a bit crazy. Maybe maybe that's not what I want to do.
And that's what I was trying to get at, but I didn't know how to say it, because as much as it may be stressful for the artist, because the artist will go through a lot of things and they would have to voice their concerns, to their artist manager, which the artist manager then takes on to try to help the artist. I know the artist manager themselves are also going through a lot of things because they have a shit load of stuff to manage, and then be this kind of therapist to, the artist. It's a lot. But I don't know. For some reason, I think
so.
It's intense, but I don't know. For some reason, I think it's kind of fun because you kind of get to do everything. The only fun part I don't think I would enjoy is like the finance.
Oh, listen.
Like managing the budgets and shit. Not that I can, not that I cannot, but I think it's just too much.
No, my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, I think it's just too much.
Finance is like, it's weird because it's like the one form of math that I just like, I don't understand it. I can memorize things, but I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm just like, this is what I was told to do, so this is how I'm going to do it. But finance is one of those maths that I'm like, what?
And that's what I was going to say, because it's different like with marketing. Like I can easily manage a budget, like a marketing budget, because I know where I'll allocate it and how I'll break it down or whatever. But like with the artists, like it's more than just like the marketing budget. Like you're paying for like everything, and you got to manage everything like within their career. Like it's a lot. Like going through my internship process and seeing how they operate at the artist management company, it's basically like you're dealing with everything that the person has going on, even if it's not related to music, even if it's personal. Like the artist is coming to you and voicing their concerns, and you're gonna have to listen because you're like on their side, and you have to like kind of, I don't know, comfort them in a sense, because this is also how you guys make bread. Because if they're not good, then they can't perform, meaning whatever duties that they may have, and then they can't make money. And when they don't make money, you don't make money. So
I think that's why a lot of people work with commissions, because it's kind of like incentive to work hard so that you can keep making money and generating results. But at the same time, it's crazy. I feel like working in the music industry on commission is like a little much. I mean, it obviously depends in what part, because like it's one thing if you're like a choreographer working on commission makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And then like as a manager, I'm like,
which
what?
I would feel like, depending on the type of artist that I have, and I feel like it also depends on the artist that you have and the connections that you have, because a lot of it has to do with the connections that you have being an artist manager, like knowing who to contact, knowing where to place your artist, knowing what kind of brand partnerships to think of to try to reach out to collaborate,
networking is like one of the most important things that you do as a manager.
So
it's just it's like any other managerial position. You have to know the right people, and you have to be a people person. You have to know how to literally manage people. It sounds very like logical and straightforward, but I think people underestimate how much of a people person you have to be, because you again, like we said earlier, you're the gatekeeper, you're the middleman, you're the point of communication for literally every aspect of this artist's career, and anything that they want to do, they're going to go to you and request that you do it. So then you have to know the right people to go do those things, or have the right connections, or at least know people who know people. Yeah. Because that's how the music industry works. You just have to know people who know people.
No, for real. And it's so crazy. Done. It's so crazy because like before, studying international music management, before doing my internship at this artist management company, like I would read up about artist management. I was like, okay, this sounds cool. This sounds fun. And in my mind, I thought it was something that you would, just probably sit behind of your computer and like do all the work and maybe have meetings here and there. But I feel like I thought then in my mind, it was more of a like, okay, I can get this done behind my computer type of thing.
Yeah.
When in actuality, it's more of, okay, yes, I can get it done behind my computer, but I also need to have a lot of meetings, speak with a lot of persons on the phone, like just do casual meetups to just talk and connect with persons, because that person could potentially help you in the future with something that you might need within the industry.
Yeah, especially in the beginning phase, you really need to be out there. I think like once you become established, then you can happily sit behind a computer because you'll have a team.
Yeah.
Handling most of everything. But in the beginning, especially, you have to show face like literally everywhere.
At the company that I was doing my internship at, when I started, I noticed that the main artist manager or the senior artist manager, because all of us were junior artist managers, because she had sort of a team that would assist her with different artists. So I would say the main or senior artist manager, she would go out on a lot of meetings, travel a lot. And I'm like, why is she traveling so much? Not in a bad way, but I'm like, why is she traveling so much? Why is she doing all of this when she could just sit behind her computer and do everything? But then when I actually started to get into it a bit more, I was like, oh, okay, so she has to make connections. She just has to have like casual meetups with persons just to get to know them, because this person is probably working for this network, or this person is probably working for this label, or you know, this person is probably working for a publishing company, or they are a publicist and they can help her in the future. So I'm like, okay, it's all about like making connections. And even if you don't use those connections right now, you still make the connections so you can use them in the future.
Especially like if you make an impression on them, they'll remember you. And then if they have an opportunity for you, they'll go to you first, because they're like, hey, I remember this person from this little get-together situation. They really knew their shit, or they were really passionate or whatever. Which also brings me to my next point. You have to stay informed. You can't be a manager and not know shit. Like, obviously, you gain a lot of knowledge through experience, which I think, like, the music industry is one of the places where you gain the most knowledge through experience. Because there's only so much books can teach you but to what actually happens. But staying informed,
because the music industry is hands-on. It's a very hands-on industry. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like staying informed, staying on top of things, staying one step ahead, because the way it moves is so fast. It's so fast and ever changing. Like, I feel like, you know, people are already thinking about the future of streaming, and I'm like, we just got here. Relax, calm down. Like, you know what? I just probably got into Spotify. Leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Literally.
But yeah, you really do. You have to stay on top of things, because it could literally make or break the artist that you are managing. So just, you know, be thirsty for that knowledge, I feel like is one of the best pieces of advice. Like, network and be thirsty for knowledge, because it's going to help. It's going to help in the hustle that is this shit show of a music industry, really. While
you were speaking, a question came up in my mind. Do you think that an artist manager can only specialize within one specific genre? Like, okay, like they'll work with only reggae artists, for instance, or they'll only work with rock artists, or they'll only work with I don't know, hip hop artists, rap artists.
I think so. I think so, and I think it's not necessarily like a bad thing to do. I know like a lot of people would probably feel like it's you're putting yourself in a box, right? But the thing is that also as an artist manager, you have to believe in your artist, and like if the music your artist makes isn't music that you also enjoy, do you really believe in them and their path? Like, you know what I mean?
True.
So I think it's okay to want to stick to a specific genre in terms of like who you're managing, because you're gonna have to be exposed to it all the time. You're gonna listen to the songs first. You're gonna see the things first. You know, you might as well do it in a genre that you appreciate and you enjoy. But yeah, also be careful not to put yourself in a box. That's also the one thing, because you could be denying yourself of many opportunities by doing that. But at the same time, you could also become the best of the best in that specific area. So who knows? It's one of those things where you kind of just have to go with the flow, take it one day at a time.
Yeah,
and see what works best for you.
I think that's interesting, because a few persons I know that does artist management, like they kind of stick within like one genre. And I'm like, that's interesting, because if you're in this genre, you can also go like here, you know, like if you're in, I don't know, if you're in urban kind of music, kind of R&B stuff, you can go into hip hop kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because it's like a mixture. But some would prefer to say, okay, no, I'm in R&B. I'm just going to stay in R&B. I'm not going to do the hip hop. I'm not going to do the rap. Which I don't know what they're thinking in terms of like why this direction, but it makes sense what you said prior.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, and I also think because like different genres have different how do you say, different environments. You know what I mean? So it could also just be a thing of like, you know, they don't want to put themselves in an environment where they're probably going to feel out of control or something. Because I actually had somebody ask me that, and they asked me if there was like any genre that I wouldn't like to work in, and I remember saying like electronic music and like EDM and stuff, because it's such a like drug culture. It sounds fucked to say, but like when you look at festivals and shit,
No,
and
I get you.
all of my friends who are into that kind of stuff, or all of the people that I know who are into that kind of stuff, they go to these festivals, they get high out of their minds. They have the best fun, but that's not an environment that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put myself in that situation because it's a bit much for me personally.
No, I get you. I get you.
And I feel like it's organized chaos, but it's chaos nonetheless, and I don't appreciate it. I'm just like not trying either. And I've gone to these types of festivals myself. I've seen it for myself. I'm not speaking out of my ass when I say it's such a strangely drug-oriented culture.
Yeah,
it just,
I know for sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and that's why myself I don't really attend those kind of festivals or anything that has to do really much with EDM or, you know, electronic music, because I'm not really into that.
Yeah. Neither man. I was
and-
really just there by chance.
yeah, and it's so crazy because circling back to what you said, like with artist managers,
Picking and choosing.
picking and choosing and staying like to one genre, it's funny that I asked you that question because I encountered that myself twice, but a story that I can share on the podcast is because it's my story, so I can share it, but you know, other things I'll just but a story that I can share is this guy, he's an artist manager. He's from St. Martin, and he's had successful artists throughout Europe, but he stayed mainly in the genre of reggae. So all of his artists were like reggae artists and stuff like that. And they were very successful throughout Europe and, you know, even in the US and in the Caribbean. And I scheduled a meeting with him because he knew about me and my music and so forth. And I scheduled a meeting with him and we sat down and we talked and stuff like that. And he told me like, hey, you know, because, you know, I make like the R&B, kind of pop music-ish. I said ish. But yeah, so he was like, you know, I'm not really into this genre. Like, I haven't worked in this space because I mainly do reggae. I was like, okay, I understand. He's like, yes, but I can do this genre still, but I'm comfortable in the reggae space. He's like, would you be willing to do some reggae? I'm like, yeah, why not? Sure. Because I mean, I'm from the Caribbean. This is part of my culture. So why not? You know?
Yeah.
Eventually things didn't work out. We didn't move forward, but I think it was for a good reason because I don't think I would have liked the route that I would have gone into. Yeah. Because I saw it happen to other artists in St. Martin who I knew personally, who does not do reggae, who does the same genre like me. And when they signed it to him, they were kind of also put in a box to do reggae.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you would notice that they're no longer with that specific artist manager.
Yeah.
So I think
you dodged a bullet.
I dodged a bullet, but also if you know that you're sticking to a specific genre, don't take on an artist if you know that is not within that genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna ask. Why did he approach you then if he's like not comfortable outside of reggae?
Well, it's crazy enough because I approached him because I didn't know he does reggae only. When I approached him and we had the meeting, he specified, you know, like he does reggae. He's well known in the reggae, you know, on the reggae scene, but he's willing to still take me on if I am still willing to start with reggae because the how you say it, the perception he gave was that, okay, we're going to start off with reggae because this is my area. I'm going to get you into that space, and then you can emerge. Like a lot of artists like start off with gospel and then they move into R&B, or, you know, they start off with R&B and then they move into hip hop. Like, you know, I was thinking of that type of transition. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I can start off with reggae, then move into a little Caribbean fusion, R&B, then, you know, like, you know, move my way up. But I noticed a lot of artists that goes with him, I think he kind of sells them that same picture, but it doesn't work because I think he tries to keep them still in that reggae box. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if you know you don't want to come out of the reggae box, then just don't take on the artist, because you know the artist is not willing to go fully reggae. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But aside from that, a lot of artist managers too are shady. But anyways,
no, they are. There are some very shady individuals. Very shady individuals. Yeah. And then there are some that really go above and beyond. I've seen my share of like people who go above and beyond. And then I've also seen my share of like really shitty people. So it's really just one of those things, like, as an artist, make sure your manager is the one. And then as a manager, make sure the artist that you sign on with is somebody whose journey you really believe in. And yeah, man, it's a very collaborative effort. In my opinion, I think it's a very collaborative effort. You really have to build a strong relationship with the people who you are representing, because you have to understand them in a way that, you know, fans and record label executives and whoever else in the industry is not going to understand them. Like, this is a bond that needs to be established.
Yeah.
A professional one, but also a personal one. And
also, what I was going to say is that for independent artists or artists who are just looking for a managers, you know, to have someone behind them to kind of push them, I think you're only ready to take on an artist. You're only ready to look for an artist manager when you have some type of music and you have like put it out yourself. I don't know if this sounds, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but what I want to say is that don't go empty-handed. Don't go unprepared. Don't go thinking that the artist manager will do everything for you. It will tell you like what type of music you should make or which direction you should go in. Like, already have an idea of what direction you want to go in. Already have some music recorded. Already have music out to show that you're putting in the work, because also for the artist manager, they want to see that you've been doing the work, or you're at least trying. Because if they see that nothing is going on, they're going to be like, okay, so why do I have to go with you? Like, why would you want me to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself, because you're not putting out anything, and then you're coming to me to tell you everything. So do you really want this? You know what I mean? So I think for artists who are looking for an artist manager, independent artists, like, put in the work and kind of have an idea already of where you want to go. And remember, at the end of the day, you are the boss. The artist is literally the boss, not the artist manager. You are actually paying them to do the work for you. Of course, they'll have the connections. They'll have maybe the financial knowledge, the marketing knowledge, or whatever. But you are the boss, because you're paying them to do the work with their resources. So just remember that. Also, I think it's very important that artists, I'm now lecturing the artist. Also, I think it's very important that artists knows about the industry, learn the industry, learn the business.
Emphasis. Like, know at least basic knowledge.
I was just going to say basic knowledge.
I'm begging you, don't let yourself be taken advantage of. Like,
yes. And learn what these contracts, you know, learn legal terms. I don't know. Just learn the basics, because it all starts with the contract. Because people literally get fucked with just the contract.
And that goes for contracts between artists and artist managers. Do those things nicely. Have a lawyer. Yeah. Separate lawyers, don't have the same lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it all starts word of mouth is just word of mouth. You could just talk. But once something is specified in the contract and you sign it, baby, you best believe you're gonna do it. Okay? Because some of these contracts in the music industry, yeah,
shady.
yeah. But no, learn the industry. I would advise every artist to learn the industry.
No,
I don't care if you want to be a rapper, a singer,
songwriter.
I don't know, whatever. Learn.
Producer,
composer. Yes, learn learn it. Learn the business, the basics, please. Don't go into this naive and clueless, because what will happen is you'll end up crying after. Literally, you'll end up crying because you'll feel like your life was taken away from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that, like, just a final really important point, on my end at least, a final really important point is treat each other with respect.
Yes.
Don't be dicks to each other.
Yeah.
You're both here trying to help each other out.
Literally.
And, like, I've seen so many of these, like, relationships that are just strange. So weird. Like, just
strange.
Yeah, just weird shit going on between, and then it's like petty, and then there's I'm like, just treat each other with respect, please. And make your boundaries clear as well. Like, because at the end of the day, it's a professional relationship. You can be friends, because your manager can sure shit be somebody that you grew up with. But you must have professional boundaries in place, and so that you guys can maintain that professional respect for one another. Because, like, yeah, just don't be stupid. This is basically what I'm saying. Don't be silly, don't be dumb, don't be stupid.
And I like something that
respect.
and I like something that you mentioned just now, where you said, because both are helping each other. Literally, the artist is helping the artist manager elevate their career, because they can also have proof to be like, this is an artist that I have, look how well they're doing, this is how I helped.
Yeah, and vice versa. Look at everything my artist manager did for me.
Exactly.
Look at all the opportunities they got
exactly.
me.
So,
exactly. Just respect each other.
Yeah, just respect each other. I mean,
be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that this was a very informative episode. We basically explained in a nutshell what, an artist manager does, and that it's important for artists themselves to learn the business so that it can be a collaborative, working relationship where both will help each other and stay on the right path. Yeah.
So, as usual, we're going to go into our little small talk corner where me and Chardonnay ask each other what our 2 favorite songs of the week are. And then we also ask each other a question that maybe has something to do with the episode, maybe doesn't, maybe has something to do with the music industry, maybe doesn't. We'll see how we feel. But questions are asked and questions are answered. So, what is your first song?
So my first song this week is Counting My Blessings by Nadia Batson. That was the same song I chose last week because I'm really into Nadia Batson's music right now. And yeah, I just love that song. It's like I said, it's all about counting your blessings, all of the things that you've encountered in life, how well it's going for you, and not taking anything for granted. So I just love that song, and I'm just listening to it continuously. It's like literally on repeat. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with that song again.
It's a little bit of vibe.
It's a vibe. Yeah.
I listened to it last week when I was posting it on the stories.
What is your first song?
Okay, my first song is a song called Attention by a girl group called New Jeans.
Where are they from?
South Korea.
Okay.
So they're like new. They debuted a few months ago. They're like fresh off the boat.
Interesting.
It's such a good song. I think it's one of the better girl group debuts I've seen in a few years.
Okay.
They have this very old school R&B sound going for them, like R&B pop vibes, and it's dope. Their EP is really good. They're super talented. They've already got credits in their own album. In their EP, which we don't see very often, especially for a group that just debuted. So, a few of the members already have some credits going on here and there. I'm very impressed with the numbers that they've been pulling and the attention that they've gotten so far.
That's cool.
They're also incredibly young. They're all teenagers. Yeah, so they're just like this group of like really, really talented girls.
Okay.
And their music is fun. So I was like, yeah, man, let me give them a little shout out.
Yeah.
Let me give them a little shout out this week. Also, just because I've been listening to Attention a lot, it's vibey. It gets stuck in my head regularly. So I'm like, yeah, That's
Okay.
my one song. What's your
Okay,
second
okay,
one?
Cool. My second song is Body Banging by Nadia Batson. Again.
Go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun, upbeat soca song that I just really enjoy listening to. It makes me dance. It makes me feel good. It gives me like great energy, great vibes. So yeah, I mean, soca music is all about feeling good and just
Listen.
enjoying yourself. So I mean, hey, that's the song. That's the song. I'm feeling Nadia Batson. Like she's one of my favorite soca artists, like hands down. What's your second song?
My second song is called Simmer Down by June Freedom featuring Spotless.
Okay.
It's dope. June Freedom is like an Afrobeats artist.
Okay.
He's American Cape Verdean. He makes really, really dope tunes. His most recent album is very good. I enjoyed literally every track. And Simmer Down is just like a little, it's not necessarily upbeat, but it's not necessarily down tempo either. It's like they're nice in the middle. It's just a vibey Afro tune. And I think he's very talented. So
Nice.
Okay, question time.
Yes. Okay. So I have a question for you.
Oh my goodness, he has a question.
Yes. Okay. So it's a pretty easy one, I think. If you
Yeah.
were an artist, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reverse Uno card with the scenario.
No, it's pretty simple. So
cool.
if you were an artist and you were looking for an artist manager,
Yeah.
what are the things that that the person needs to have to qualify them to be your artist manager, and what would be like red flags for you?
Ooh.
So what would be
Red
definitely
flags.
yes?
Ow.
What do they need to have? And then
Yeah.
what would be like red flags? Like I'm not so sure about that, or completely no.
Okay, so I think for qualities that I would like my artist manager to have is drive, because I like somebody who's driven. It lets me know that, they're going to do their best. And the best, that's all I can ask for somebody is for them to do their best.
Yeah.
Then passion, I think that they should be passionate about the music industry because, again, it's what we were touching on in the episode. They have to be able to stay on top of things and stay educated, most importantly. I think that's going to be my third one, like somebody who is knowledgeable about the music industry, because I can't have somebody who knows nothing. Sure, I can have somebody who knows the basics, but I would like above the basics, because the basics will only get you so far. And then, of course, you'll learn more with experience. But I think just to get your toe in the door, just to get your foot in the door, you need to have like just above basic knowledge to show that you're serious. You're serious about this shit. So yeah, drive, passion, knowledge
Okay.
are my three must-haves.
Yeah, those
and
are
then
good.
like 3 red flags is if their ego is bigger than mine.
For me, that's a definite no.
No. If their ego is bigger than mine, I feel like it's just going to be a power struggle the whole time where there doesn't need to be one. I would like collaboration, not a power struggle, not a fight.
Yeah.
If they are not into my music, that's another
True.
red flag. If they're like, I'm not really into your sound, but like, I feel like we can do things. I feel like we can get somewhere. Then I'm going to be like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to sell my shit if you don't even like my shit? You know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying they don't like my shit because it's bad. I'm just saying it's not something that they're interested in or that they enjoy.
Right.
Then I feel like I'd be like, red flag. Greed. Greediness, because then it becomes a situation where they want you to do every single thing that comes up, even though it might not be something that aligns with you and your path and your music and your whole image even, or even, maybe you need to take a break, but they're like, no, you have to keep going because this is a lot of money that could come in.
I was just about to say.
Like, no, we've seen that happen to many people, many people in the music industry, big names in the music industry, where they're like, yo, I need to slow down a bit. And managers are like, no, because that means we're going to lose out on a lot of money. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let me recover, because how am I going to be useful if I'm here fighting for my life? So my 3 green flags, I don't even remember what I said. Drive, passion, knowledge,
Yeah.
I think.
But they were good.
And my
yeah.
3 red flags is an ego bigger than mine, greed, and what was the other one? I just said it.
That if they're not interested in your
Oh
music.
yeah, like lack of interest in like my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are good answers because I think that would be something as well that I would, want and would not want, with
Yeah.
an artist manager. No, that's good. That's good. Okay, so what's my question?
So I'm gonna Uno reverse your question on you and be like, if you were an artist manager, what qualities would you want an artist to have and not have?
Okay, good question. I think like what I mentioned earlier in the episode, I would love to see that the artist has already put in some type of work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's like 2 songs or 3 songs. That's literally fine with me.
Yeah.
As long as I see
There's
that
a starting point.
there's a starting point.
Okay, cool.
I would love if the artist has like their kind of their own kind of direction or creative path that they would want to go in, because then I can be able to help them and guide them throughout that process to make it as best as possible for them. Another thing that I would love is that I want to say that the artist is humble and grounded.
Okay.
If I'm saying it correctly, not to come in. Okay, I guess this would be like a red flag. Not to come in like with an ego.
I mean, everybody has an ego, but like obviously
True.
not with an inflated one, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would love an artist that is humble and grounded because I'm that type of person. So I feel like we'll be able to get along very well and relate with each other, on certain things. And good music, of course.
Yeah. Voice.
Vibes. Good music, of course. But I think for me, even if they don't have knowledge in the music industry, I think I would kind of give that knowledge to them.
Yeah.
Like try to help them understand, okay, this is how you need to look at contracts. This is things that you should know or whatever. So I would kind of be like that kind of mentor to them, even though they are my artist. Because I would not do nothing like willfully bad to them or try to scam them out or something, because I mean that's not in my vibes. Like I'm not that, you know what I mean? So I think for me it's just just seeing that you've done some work already and already coming with your own mind on what you want to do for your career. I think that's those are the 2 main things for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think also having the right mindset. Like to grow your career takes time. So don't think that you could be like an overnight success or within a couple of months you'll be like, I mean, it could happen out of luck, but the mindset, like know that we have to continue to put in work. It's going to be tough, but we need to still going. I would understand as an artist manager as well when you might need a break, because I might also need a break as well.
Yeah, of course.
But I think those things for me, that what I would want them to have is music already out there, coming with your own kind of concept,
Cool.
having the right mindset and being humble. Basically.
Cool.
Yeah. A thing that I would not want them to have is, like you said, the ego part. Like if you feeling like you the best singer and the best artist and the best rapper and the best, fine, or you could feel like you're the best, but just don't come with that kind of attitude, because it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. So yeah, no, I think that's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like that.
This was
that.
a nice episode.
Yeah, we like there's just like stuff that we sometimes really enjoy talking about, and artist management is really one of those topics for us. But yeah, man, hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, so that was our little artist management discussion.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have any questions. We're always on social media.
For
We're always on
sure.
social media, which brings me to our little closing spiel.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you're feeling spicy. Instagram, TikTok, both of those are Don't Touch My Music Pod. We post bloopers over there. We're also active on Instagram in particular. So if you ever have any questions or want to ask us anything, you can hop into our DMs because they are open. And then finally, if you are listening on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, like the podcast, follow the podcast, rate the podcast, and depending on where you're listening to, you can also drop little comments here and there. So yeah, that's us.
That's our episode. I really enjoyed this episode, and I hope they did too. So
yeah, I had fun.
Yes, yeah. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.